So it is that time again, and we are back for our weekly score predictions. As always, I'm interested to see what you guys are saying, so all this weekend's fixtures will be in the description down below, so that you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. And if you do get any of them right, your comment will be included at the start of the next video. Just before we do get into anything though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors over at OneFootball. As always, they will be in the top link of the description down below, where you can go ahead and check out the footballing app. So you can go ahead on there and track all the games which are going on this weekend, get live updates to your phone and all that good stuff. It's really handy to have. You can read up on the latest news, transfer gossip, look at the in-game stats for how your team's going on. I use it all the time, so like I said, I would highly recommend it. Top link of the description down below. But without any further ado, let's hop into my score predictions. So starting out with the game going on tonight between Swansea and Fulham. Now, since the international break, Swansea haven't quite clicked back into gear. A few sloppy performances. Obviously, they did draw in midweek against Huddersfield 1-1, and then before that, did lose against Millwall. Their home form is becoming a little bit of an issue. They have lost 3 of their last 4 home matches, and going up against this Fulham side isn't going to be an easy one, because Fulham really have been clicking up back into gear. Ever since that defeat they had to Hull City, they've responded excellently, currently sitting 3rd in the Championship. They've been scoring more goals, they've won their last 3 matches. In midweek, they were looking very comfortable against Derby, putting 3 goals past them. I thought the balance to that squad looked a lot better going forward, with Mitrovic up front, Bobby Reid playing in behind, out on the right hand side having Camara, and then on the left Cavallero, and then the 2 in midfield being Tom Kenny and Johansson. Things were looking a lot better for Fulham. In possession, they were being a lot more penetrating, and going up against this Swansea side, who for whatever reason seems to be struggling at the Liberty at the moment, I think I'm just swaying towards Fulham for this one. So for a prediction, I'm just going to edge Fulham for a 2-1 away victory, with Thief saying it'll be a 1-1 draw. Charlton against Sheff Wednesday is an interesting one. Obviously, Charlton's injury crisis at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't help that they already have, probably one of the thinnest squads in the Championship, but the amount of players they've got out injured at the moment, and quality players as well. To add to that, Conor Gallagher will be suspended for this game after picking up his 5th booking of the season in midweek, so it really leaves them in a tough situation. And how they go about this game against Sheff Wednesday, I'm not so sure. Sheff Wednesday though have also been having their frustrations. Sheff Wednesday have sort of been the masters of conceding late goals lately, so something should be about to change in this one. Charlton lately have been getting themselves into some decent winning positions, but seemingly can't hold on to a lead, so something has to give in this game. Wednesday midweek put in a decent performance, especially sort of towards the end of that game against Birmingham, where they sort of came alive for the last 20 minutes or so, created enough chances to win that game, but it's not quite falling for them at the moment. I think that with the players Wednesday have available, I might be edging them for this one. I think that with Charlton, and especially the midfielders that they've got out injured at the moment, they may struggle for creativity in this one. And so for prediction, I think I'm just edging towards Wednesday. I'll say 1-0 Wednesday. Thief is going to agree with me, but even then, I'm not so sure. Charlton might pull something out of the bag. Barnsley against Hull is set up to be an interesting game, with Barnsley having the worst defensive record in the league, no wins in 17, going up against probably one of the most free scoring sides in the league at the moment in Hull City. This could be an absolute bloodbath if Barnsley aren't careful. Obviously, Barnsley lately, I think they've had a couple decent fixtures where they could have got something from, but it's just not falling for them at the moment. Obviously, they did lose in midweek 1-0 against Middlesbrough. Back at Oakwell for this one though, I'm not sure how I fancy their chances. Hull in midweek were absolutely exceptional. They completely blew Preston out of the water in that one. Jared Bowen sort of played in a free role behind Josh McGuinness as a number 10, and he was completely dictating play. Having Josh Bowler on that right hand side and Grosicki on the left, all sorts of problems. They interchange between themselves, and there's some really nice passing combinations for them flying going forward. And with how naive Barnsley have been at the back at times, you feel like Hull could have an absolute field day if things do start to fall their way. Barnsley, I still do think, bringing attacking threat into games though, despite them not being the best so far this season and sitting bottom of the Championship. I still do think they can score goals, but for prediction, I think I'm going to back Hull for it. I'm going to say 3-1 to Hull, with Thief saying it'll just be 1-0 Hull. Next up, we then got Birmingham going up against Millwall. Now, Birmingham, no wins from their last 4 matches. Their form has fallen off a little bit. They'll be hoping to rectify that, being back at St Andrews in this one. Going up against a Millwall side who, on the whole, have fairly struggled on the road so far this season. Only 1 away win for them, but that did come in their last away match, as they did beat Swansea. Jed Wall is someone who's really caught my eye lately for Millwall. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Playing on that right-hand side, has the quality to trouble any side in the Championship, really. One player for Birmingham who has stood out to me lately has been Truman, actually, in net. Obviously, I'm a bit split on what I'd make of Lee Camp. Obviously, we spoke about him quite a bit on the channel, but Truman, I think, has done fairly well for the 2 games that he's come in for so far. Obviously, a fairly inexperienced goalkeeper, but I thought he was really keeping them in the game at times, especially late on against Sheffield Wednesday, where Birmingham went on to draw. Millwall make it tough for anyone. Obviously, there'll be a threat from set pieces. They showed that in their last game against Wigan when they were a real menace swinging balls into the box. But for this one, I think I'm just going to edge Birmingham to get back to winning ways. I'll say 2-1 Birmingham. Next up, we then got Brentford going up against Luton. Brentford will be looking to get back to winning ways after a defeat in midweek against Blackburn Rovers. I said at the time that that could have been a potential banana skin for Brentford, and it turned out to be that way. But back at Griffin Park for this one, as a lot of Brentford games are, I see this being fairly open, but especially with the way that Luton like to play, and that may suit Brentford for this one. Obviously, things didn't quite click for the game they had against Blackburn. They did have chances for that one. The penny just didn't drop in the final third. Luton, fantastic win for them in midweek after they went on a bit of a dodgy run in the Championship, but 3 points that saw them get out of the bottom 3. I do like that diamond that they play with. It suits them very well. Izzy Brown at the tip of it, but also the people they've got in behind that, Shinnie and Panzu, who's always capable of popping up with a goal here and there. And I see goals being scored in this one. Brentford, if they do turn up for it, I think do have the quality to go on and win. For this one, Luton bring a goal threat. Could be a banana skin, but I think I'm just going to edge Brentford to get back to winning ways. 5 wins from their last 7 matches. They're still on a good run, and a win could take them into the top 6. So I'll say 2-1 Brentford. FIFA's going to say 1-1. Then we see Bristol City going up against Huddersfield. Bristol City a bit frustrating in the Championship lately. Their form has tailed off a little bit, but that has sort of coincided with a lot of teams around the top 6 form dropping off lately. You know, we've seen Preston, Swansea, Bristol City, Sheffield Wednesday, and a couple of others really not picking up too many points in recent weeks, so that has meant that Bristol City only find themselves 1 point off the top 6 despite only winning 1 of their last 5 matches. Back at Ashton Gate for this one, they'll be hoping to get back to winning ways, but it's not going to be an easy one. Huddersfield, I think, under Danny Cowley so far, have been very consistent. The only real blip in that record was away at Preston when they lost that game, but apart from that, they've only lost 1 of their last 10 matches now, and going away, I think that Huddersfield, they'll make it very tough for Bristol City defensively. I think that they've improved vastly since Cowley's come in. Going forward as well, they offer a goal threat. We spoke about it in yesterday's video, but Alex Pritchard, I think, is someone who's continuing to grow in confidence, and as Bristol City have been a side who does tend to leave themselves a little bit exposed at the back from time to time, Alex Pritchard popping up in those little pockets of space could be someone to cause some real problems. Obviously, you've got Colin Grant in there as well, who will be on the prowl for this one. So for prediction, I don't think there'll be a lot to separate these two sides. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next up, we got Derby going up against QPR. Both sides will be looking to bounce back from what was a pretty awful midweek. Derby got beat 3-0 by Fulham, and QPR lost 4-0 against Nottingham Forest. Now, Derby's home record is something to really be admired, actually. They're unbeaten in their last 7 home games. They've won their last 5, and they've only lost 1 of their last 16 home matches. Compare that to QPR, who at one point seemed like they were on the cusp of something brilliant this season. They were, you know, mixing with the playoffs, and then they just fell off a cliff. They've not won any of their last 6 Championship matches. Defensively, maybe they've been found out. Obviously, they've not kept a clean sheet so far this season. They've got the 2nd worst defensive record, and Derby playing at home could really cause QPR some problems in this one. Obviously, their last home game being against Northend, where I thought they were absolutely excellent, getting the ball forward, transitioning through midfield. Tom Lawrence playing in that number 10 position was excellent. Derby seem to be a completely different side at home compared to when they are playing away, so being back at home for this one, I think the advantage does sit with them, so I'm just backing Derby for a 2-1 home victory. Then we got Leeds going up against Middlesbrough. Now, Middlesbrough were able to put an end to that awful winless run in midweek, beating Barnsley by 1-0, but going away to Ellen Road to face Leeds, it's a bit of a different test, let's face it. Both sides do have injuries coming into this one. Middlesbrough with quite a sizable injury list. Leeds obviously will be missing Roberts for this one, but they've certainly got the options to go ahead and deal with that loss. You know, if you're pushing Hernandez into that number 10 role, you can then have Harrison playing on the left, Bamford up front, and then you can play Costa out wide. Costa seems to be slowly developing into this Leeds squad. Obviously did set up the winner for the game they had in midweek against Reading. Nice ball in from Costa, and then Jack Harrison finished that. Harrison, who has come up with quite a few big moments for them lately. Patrick Bamford, also someone who seems to be playing with a bit more confidence now in front of goal. I think that game against Luton massively helped his confidence. The win in midweek was big for Middlesbrough to get them out of the bottom 3, but going to Ellen Road, I'm not sure if I can fancy them to get anything from this one. Leeds have been looking good lately, and they'll be looking to bridge that gap between themselves and third place. So for a prediction, I am going to back Leeds for a 2-0 home victory, with Thief saying it'll be 1-0 Middlesbrough. Next up, we then got Forest going up against Cardiff, and Forest find themselves in a very good position in the Championship at the moment, sat fourth with a game in hand on the teams above them. It was an excellent display midweek, putting 4 goals past QPR. João Carvalho with the pick of those goals. Absolutely exquisite finish, nutmegging the QPR defender and then poking the finish home. Going up against the Cardiff side, who did get their first win under Neil Harris though in midweek. However, away from home, Cardiff haven't quite been able to hit the same heights as they have done at home, and for that reason you probably will be fancying Forest to take control of this game, look to take the game to Cardiff and then slowly look to break them down. Forest, I think in terms of midfielders, definitely have the players to go on and work the ball and slowly break down Cardiff. You know, you're looking at the likes of João Carvalho, who seems to be back in form now, Thiago Silva, who I've loved watching play lately, Amiobi, who's popping up with an assist now and again, and Joe Lolly, if he can get back to hitting the full heights. I think that Forest do have the quality to win this one, and I think I will back them to win. I've been impressed with Forest lately. I'm going to say 2-0 with Thief agreeing with me for that one. Next up, we then got Stoke going up against Blackburn. Stoke will be hoping to climb out of the bottom 3. It wasn't a great performance in midweek, their first loss under O'Neill. Away at Cardiff, they never really got going. They conceded fairly early on in that game, and then going forward, didn't really offer much of a goal threat, and that was a bit of a surprise to me, because in recent games before that, Stoke have been looking fairly decent going forward. Going up against the Blackburn side, who they themselves have been a bit of a mixed bag lately. 3 wins, 2 losses in their last 5 matches. They've been picking up their form in terms of picking up points, but their performances still have been fairly varied. I was impressed with them in midweek, in fairness to them, beating Brentford by 1-0. Scored a fantastic goal in that. Bradley Dack has been someone who has been in the goals lately for Blackburn. Always going to be someone who's going to cause a threat if you're putting chances to Bradley Dack. Very good at arriving late in the box and getting on the score sheet. So for this one, it's a sort of game where I can see goals being scored. Draws aren't too handy for Stoke at the moment, who are looking to move up the Championship, but Blackburn won't make it easy for them. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. Thief is going to say it'll be 2-0 Stoke. Next up, we then got Wigan going up against Reading. Now, Wigan lately, it's been a tricky one for them. They've lost their last 2 home matches. Obviously, in midweek they did draw against Millwall, got into a decent position in that one. They were leading twice in that game, but could not hold on to the lead. They had Joe Garner and Keith Earmole both playing for that one, looking to play off each other. Pilkington was someone who was quite effective for that game as well. So they did bring a lot more attacking threat into this game, and if they can do that against Reading, they could cause them some problems. Obviously, going up against a Reading side who have lost their last 2 matches. 2 tough matches, in fairness to Reading, you know, going away to Brentford and then against Leeds. Going forward, they've not quite looked as fluid in those last 2 matches, only having 3 shots on target combined in their last 2, but you'd think that they'd be able to get at that Wigan defence a lot more than they have done in their last couple of matches. Paul Cook at Wigan just seems to be very good at Wigan. They'll go on a bit of a dodgy run and then they'll pull a result out of nowhere, and then that'll buy them a few more games in the job, and I feel like they could have the same impression on it really. I think that I'm just going to edge Wigan for a 1-0 home victory. It's the sort of game where I see Reading having like 70% possession and 20 shots, but it's just not happening for them, and Wigan somehow managed to scramble it over with a Che Dunkley goal or something like that. So for this one, I'm going to say 1-0 Wigan. Thief is going to say 2-0 Wigan. It's a tricky one to predict. And then to round things off, on Monday night, we see North End going up against West Brom. Now, since the international break, Preston have hit a bit of a brick wall, really. 2 fairly tricky fixtures, going to Derby and then to Hull City. Back-to-back defeats for North End, but we are back at Deepdale for this one, and it shouldn't be forgotten about. Preston's home record has been exceptional so far this season. 12 goals scored in our last 4 home matches, but going up against West Brom, it's a bit of a different beast, really. I'm really intrigued to see who Alex Neil plays for this game and who's available for it, really. If Ben Davies isn't back for this game, I am a little bit worried, because Hull absolutely carved us apart in midweek. The difference in our side when Ben Davies is there compared to when he isn't is completely night and day. So if Davies isn't available and we're having to play someone like Ledson at right back again, West Brom will get a lot of joy out of our back four. There's no doubt about that. West Brom, one of the best attacking sides, if not the best attacking side in the Championship at the moment. Pereira and Diane Garner, I think, are the real highlights of that. They're capable of winning matches by themselves. I think being back at home, we will give them a good game, and we need to bounce back and show a reaction from our last 2 games. But West Brom, I think, probably are the best team in the Championship and are on a different wavelength to a lot of the sides we've faced so far this season. For a prediction, I think I'm going to have to say that West Brom may end this streak we've got going at home. I'll say 2-1 West Brom. Thief is saying 1-1. I really hope we pull something out of the bag for that one. But guys, there you have it. There are my championship score predictions for what I think is going to happen this week. So do you guys agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm interested to see what you guys are saying for this weekend's fixtures. But apart from that, that will now wrap it up for today's video. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe for a bit of regular championship content. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.